Last presenter today, Copper 360. The company is set to list on Altex this week on the 21st of April, which is this Friday. The company will also be South Africa's only pure copper play. With the mines situated in the Northern Cape, Copper 360 will come to market with a dozen mines that collectively have a 100-year life of mine span. As part of their listing, the company has set out to raise 153 million, and 90 million has already been subscribed, but I believe that there was also some form of debt capital raising, which I'm sure Jan will tell us more about. Before we cross over and get Jan in studio, let's cross over to their corporate video.
The scramble for copper really is on in South Africa, and the Northern Cape is the main focus. There's a significant shortfall of copper in the world, and it will have an impact definitely on the price of copper and the demand for it because of the shortage of copper.
Great. Well, we have got Jan in studio. Jan, you are certainly no stranger to the JSE, but you definitely have a very exciting week ahead of you. Welcome to the JSE. Great to have you here. We're very keen to hear about your listing and what it is that you're looking at doing in terms of your copper play.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Fantastic. Over to you.
Thank you. Okay. What I'm going to do today is, because we're a new kid on the block, is just tell you a little bit about the company, who we are, what we're going to do, and then tell you a little bit about the copper market. I think it's important that you know why copper is important, and then just some slides on what is the value proposition. So I think the first slide is, who are we and what do we do? We are miners. We mine copper, and we process that copper. We make copper plates, and we'll be making copper concentrate. We do that in the Northern Cape, just north of the town of Springbok. We have a very solid, technically diverse and an experienced and innovative team on the ground. We've been building a plant over the last 5 years, and that plant is now in operation. And then on 21 April, this Friday, we list on the JSE. We're very excited about that. And we'll be the only copper play in South Africa, which is even more exciting. And we are Copper 360 Limited, and that would be our ticker code. So if we then look at our geographic location, as I said, we're in the Northern Cape. A slide that just shows where we are. We've got a mining license that's been granted over an area that covers 19,000 hectares. There's 12 developed mines and 60 prospects of a huge database, and a whole bunch of other rock sources that we're feeding into a central processing facility near Nababi. If we then look at what makes us different, I think it's the fact that we're in production, we're cash flow positive, and we have a dividend policy. We have a process design and engineering capability. We build most of our plants ourselves, and that's an on-site capacity we have. And we own 70% of an entire copper district. Anywhere else in the world, you would have another 40 junior companies running around in the area. And then most of the mines, as I said, on the mining license is pre-developed, and the ore has been defined by previous drilling. So we've got the fortunate position of only being able to go in and mine it and extract the value. And then we are growing our production from 1,500 tons of copper metal to 8,000 tons by the end of this year on an annualized basis. We've currently secured 260 million rand in the listing. That's already in the bank. We've sunk about 300 million before that, and we're targeting revenue growth on an annualized basis by the end of the year of about 1 billion rand, of which 50% of that would be gross profit. So we've got very high margin. So if we look at that high margin of ours, you can see a picture there of our plant that makes the copper cathode and how we mine. You can see there's no physical mining, it's loose ore. A big part of our operations are loose ore. That means we're one of the lowest cost producers in the world. And by also taking that rock away, which you see there, we process it, and then we fill up old mining excavations. So we also haven't got an environmental a rehabilitation side to our business in terms of cleaning up old mining sites with what we do. So let's talk about why is copper so critical. So that is a T-Rex, for those of you who didn't study geology, and he's chasing copper. And the reason I have that is that we don't have enough copper in the world. And if we don't find and mine more copper, we are going to come extinct like the dinosaurs. And if you don't believe me, look at these slides. We have to produce the same amount of copper in the next 20 years that we've produced since the history of man starting. And if you look on the slide on the right, you look at mine production. Mine production is falling. And if we dig into that on these slides, Europe has got a target that 30% EVs must be on the road by 2040. That requires 42 million tons of copper metal. Currently, we're producing 20 million tons of copper in the world, and that's falling to 12 million tons by 2034. Now, that's just EVs. You can see there's a huge problem. We're not talking renewables. We're not talking infrastructure development. And if you look at the right-hand slide, which shows now that the cost of an electric car is the same as a diesel or petrol car, this is now where the sale of electrical vehicles is going to grow. You can see just in the angle of the graphs on the left-hand side, in terms of renewables, how copper's role is growing. So we just don't have enough copper. And I think being a copper producer in South Africa, one of the only ones, is advantageous to the company, its investors, and of course the country. So if we just quickly look at the market, the copper market's going to grow significantly. And what you must remember is, if you look at the current contributors, which is Chile and North America and Europe, that production is virtually going to disappear in the next 2 years. So this market is just, in terms of value, going to get much, much, much bigger. We'll just keep that slide because we've already played the video. Then let's look at what are our key value drivers. That is a picture of our Rietberg mine that's pre-developed. It'll be a first mine we're going to put in production. On the left is recent core that we've drilled on one of our ore bodies. We had a 40-meter intersection of over 3.5% copper, which is by world standards exceptional. You just don't get that anywhere else. So I need to explain to you, first of all, one of our key drivers is the size, the grade, and the distribution of our copper. And I'm going to do it by way of an analogy of a copper whale. That is a humpback whale. I hope my biology did serve me well, but I'm sure that is a humpback whale. And if we look at a humpback whale, a humpback whale is 35 meters long, about 10 to 12 meters in width, and about 5 meters in its depth. And it weighs about 150 tons, okay? And you'll see now why I want to explain the amount of copper we have by the way of a whale analogy. If we just say that that whale has got 1.5% of copper in it, it's almost like calories, then 1.5% times 150 tons would mean that that copper whale that you see there, a whale of 150 tons, would be worth, at the current copper price of 220,000 Rand a ton, would be worth about R500,000. If we then go to the Rietberg mine, which I showed you a picture of, the first mine we're going to mine, that's just a vertical section of it with the development in red going in. And the copper ore in yellow there that we've modeled, and that is about 450 meters in length. There's 25,000 tons of copper metal there that we can mine. And let's now talk about the whale. Where's the whale? There's the whale. Can you all see the whale? It's very small. So I've put a circle around it. To fill that ore body, we would need 11,000 humpback whales. That would represent 1.4 billion Rand. But it gets even better. Because if we go back to where we are located in the Northern Cape, we own virtually the whole copper district, as I mentioned. We have to go nowhere else to get copper. And there we have 2.5 million tons of copper metal in our prospects and all our projects. That would mean we would need 1.1 million humpback whales to fill all the ore bodies. Remember I said they're worth about 500,000? That's 560 billion Rand in the ground. Now what does that mean? What does that mean? What does 1.1 million copper whales mean? Well, remember I said to you a humpback whale is 35 meters long. So 1.1 million whales at 35 meters is 38,500 kilometers. The circumference of the earth is 40,000. So we've got such a lot of copper in the area where we mine that we, with our copper whales, could make one turn right around the earth. That's how much copper we have right here in South Africa. Everybody's forgotten about it. That's the resource that we are going to bring to account. The other advantage we have is our in-house ability engineering design. As I said, we can build, design, and plan all our plants. We don't have to go to a contract company to design them, to do all the work. That saves us money and time. And we've got total electrification capability and engineering design capability. Anything breaks where we are, we make it ourselves, which is just a huge advantage for a company like us. The other important factor that we have in our advantage is this iceberg, and it's not because the copper ship is going to hit it and sink. What I'm trying to show there is that a lot of the information that we got when we bought or acquired the property, because Newmont and Goldfields had mined it, is a huge data set. You know, there's over 3,000 geophysical maps, drilling, over 580,000 drilling. All the work's been done, all the mines have been pre-developed. And what this means is that we can immediately start mining. So that's a huge advantage. And then obviously our team is our other huge benefit. We've got a fantastic team there. The local people have mined before in the golden old days of Akip, and they have got mining experience, which means that it makes training and the ability to execute on a lot of these processes much easier. And then our strategic partnerships. We like to form strategic partnerships. The first one we formed with the big chemicals company BASF. Nobody knows this, but our solvent extraction plant that we've built in Ababib has, with BASF, through them, developed the first artificial intelligence software that can track solvent extraction plants and warn when they're going to have a problem so that you can react. And that has been done in Ababib, in South Africa, and will be rolled out worldwide. Our communities, of course, is our other partner. You can't operate in a country like this and not have the community as your partner. And then one of our big investors recently, Kapa Mining, has taken a 15% stake in us. They are a big diamond miner. And what they bring to the party is they are very good at processing and pre-screening rock. And we're going to apply some of their technologies to our pre-screening that will not only upgrade our rock, but will also reduce the amount of waste we have to put through our plant, which will again reduce our cost base. And then obviously the municipality in Springbok, we're talking to them about the development of solar plants and water plants. And then another company by the name of Metaltech, which we've used to develop the first leach dams that have been developed in the world where we are. So we do a lot of what we do with partners, which gives us a huge strategic advantage. So then in summary, what are we saying? We are in production and cash flow positive. So we're not coming to the JSE because we want money so that we can operate. We have come to the JSE because we think it's a wonderful opportunity we can give shareholders and ourselves, but we have come to raise capital to grow our business so that we'll be producing by the end of the year close to about 650 tons of copper per month, and on an annualized basis, 8,000. The interesting thing to note about that is that the all-in sustaining cost of our copper is $4,500 a ton, and the current copper price is sitting at 9,500 tons, going to 12,000 tons. So you can see the huge margin we have, and most of our deposits sits on surface, so they're low cost, and a lot of them doesn't require mining. We're targeting a market cap of about 2.4. There's 629 million shares. We have no debt, and we have a dividend policy that we will roll out next year, because this year we're raising capital. Experienced team. We are first movers in the area, and we're also the region rulers because we've got no competition. We own most of it. We already have secured offtake agreements for the copper, and as I've said, that's the revenue we're targeting per month by the end of the year. We have that large surface resource that you've seen, multiple ore resources that gives us flexibility. So in summary, we're very excited to bring this, what we believe, great opportunity to the shareholders in terms of the only copper play in South Africa. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'm excited about this one because it's listing on Friday. It's different. We usually have companies that are already operating, listed on the JSE. So I had a lot of information about this one. So the first question, I guess, is when you said not all of the plants in your region are operational. So when all of those are operational, how much do you expect to produce in terms of your monthly target?
We've got the current SXEW is producing, and that's currently producing 50 tons of copper per month, building up to 150 tons over the next 5 months. And then we are building with the capital that we've raised 2 concentrate plants that will add about another 500 tons of copper. Then that by the end of the year, we'll be doing about 650 tons of copper metal per month. And that helps us achieve the target of about 8,000 tons of copper over a 12-month period.
Okay, I'll pause there and add on to that question because, I mean, we have logistical issues here in South Africa. So can you...
Yeah. So the question that has come in from Sindile is, how is the business insulated from the ongoing TFR challenges? Is Transnet inefficiencies a headwind to the business, just like other dry bulk businesses?
No, we're very fortunate there because the offtake agreements we have two offtake agreements. The one hasn't kicked in yet, but the other one is the one that we're currently utilizing to sell our copper plates. And both of these agreements are structured in such a way that the off-taker comes and picks up the copper at the mine gate and trucks it down to Saldanha or Cape Town. So once it leaves the mine gate, it's not our problem anymore.
It's not your risk.
And we get paid within 2 to 3 days. We get paid about 85% of the metal value.
Okay, you've got great negotiators, I'll tell you that much.
You know why? Sorry, you know why? It's because there's such a demand for copper. It's not because we're that good at negotiating. That's perhaps also, it'll be nice to say that.
You guys are
Just
good
take
at
it.
negotiating.
No,
I
we
tell
are.
you.
But I tell you, it's the demand for copper. People want copper, so they are prepared to come and take it at your mine gate and pay for it. And pay for that.
85%.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, let's talk about the capital mix currently, because I mean, according to my research here, you guys were looking to raise around 152.5 million by way of a private placement, of which 90 million was already committed to your partners you spoke about, Ekapa and obviously Coronation. So what's left? And I heard, you know, right now as you were entering that you had some debt facilities and debt funding also in the mix there, which I'm pretty excited to hear about because you guys have zero debt from the last time I heard.
Yeah, we have no debt on the balance sheet.
Yeah.
So, of the 90 million that we've raised, there was another 100 million that came in from Ekapa. But 30 million of that came in December. We convinced them to give us the money in December because we're building a plant and we needed money to order the long lead items, which are mills that are coming from China. So that was already paid to us in December. Another 90 million through Ekapa, and then there's another 70 million coming in terms of a structure that the directors are putting back that can convert to equity, but it's at the moment it's a debt facility with no interest.
Oh, okay. So is this your last roadshow? Or are you still looking to raise further capital? Yeah.
No. We originally wanted to raise only about 130, I think, or 40 million rand, and that would build the first plant, and then we would have come back to market. But we decided let's rather go and raise the whole 260, build both plants so that we don't have to come back to market again. Otherwise, there's always this overhang and expectation that we're going to come back for market and how much are we going to come back. So we decided let's do it in one go. We can build both plants. And also I think in an uncertain world where I don't know whether maybe in 2 or 3 months time or 6 months from now, institutions, there might be a world event and they don't want to put in the money. So I thought while we
still have their attention.
While we have the attention and they were willing to put it in now, let's take it. But I think it also negates shareholders' concerns that we're going to come back and how much are we going to come back for and how much will it dilute them by.
Okay, fantastic.
We do have some more online questions from Bernard. Is the concentrated ore ready for smelting? And a follow-on question is, or do you produce the metal? Seems so from the photos.
Yes, so we've got the copper metal, which we produce copper plates through the SXEW, which is solvent extraction with electrowinning and plating. And that's our oxide ore, but our sulfide ore cannot be extracted through that process. That goes through a process of flotation. Those are the plants we're building, and they produce a concentrate. And that concentrate we're targeting between 30 and 35% of it will be copper, and that would be ready for export for smelting.
Yes. I know currently, I mean, you're still probably like 110% focused on making sure all of your plants are, you know, at working at capacity and et cetera, et cetera. But like, do you have aspirations maybe we're looking at other green metals?
No.
This is the game.
I mean, we've got the 1.1 million copper whales we have to bring to account. And, we've got a whole copper district to ourselves, shallow resources more. So, I just think we would be absolutely stupid to go and hunt for anything else when we've got all of this on our back door And, copper is one of the strategic metals. We understand it. We understand how to process it. So I think going elsewhere will divert management's attention. And maybe if all our copper was up, maybe in 100 years we'll look at something else. But at the moment, it's just copper.
You answered perfectly, because I was asking you guys if, like you have your, all your attention on the one thing, because it seems like it's a boon, to say the least. Yeah.
It's copper and copper only.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah.
So 1.1 million male whales.
Male whales. What have you got against the female whale?
200 odd capital raise through the listing. What's next in terms of ongoing future capital raises?
Nothing. What we now have to do is post the listing, is get our heads down and deliver by the end of the year the results we've promised our investors.
Are you excited?
I am. There's going to be a lot of news flow. We've had a drilling campaign that we've just completed on the Rietberg mine, so those results will come out, and we have more results on other ore bodies that we've targeted. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be in the listed space, and excited in terms of what our team's going to do next. But as I've said, it's now heads down, and we have to perform.
Yes, we have another question from Bernard, who's asking, is the concentrate ore ready for smelting?
Yes.
Oh, you asked that one. Oh, okay.
Yes, it is.
Sorry.
Oh, it will be. It will be.
It will be.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Well, just to your earlier point, we are certainly very excited to have you list on the JSE, listing on the Altex this Friday. Really keen to see you beat those drums.
We will.
I don't know if we have any more questions.
No, just send our love to Rupert.
We will. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us in studio. Right, well, that concludes our company selection for today. Bright, thank you for co-hosting with me. Thank you for all the difficult questions. You definitely came prepared. Any closing thoughts?
No, this was fun. We hope to do it again, obviously, and have more small caps, to showcase. I think we haven't done a dent, on the small caps that are listed, and obviously we want to see more of these small caps graduate from the Altex to the main board, and by showcasing them here on the JSE, maybe will help attract the right retail and obviously other investors that would be interested in these businesses. But also it does, make them vulnerable from other people maybe who are watching far from here, and they're seeing them as targets to take them out of the JSE. So we're going to need to find more businesses. So it's quite interesting, to say the least. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Fantastic. Well, on that concludes the show for today. So please do stay tuned for our next Small Cap Investment Forum, which will take place on the 28th of June and the 20th of September. Thank you to all of our speakers for today. Great presentations, thought-provoking questions. We hope that you enjoy the show. Please do not forget to send your name and ID number to zai@iasa.co.za. Let's repeat that. It's zai@iasa.co.za. And of course, that concludes the show for today. We're going to be closing off with a video from the JSE private placement. So for those companies out there that are not listed but still looking at raising capital, please stay tuned for the closing video for JSE private placement.
Introducing JSE Private Placements, the brand new state-of-the-art digital platform that smartly connects private companies with investors. If you're looking to raise debt, equity or pre-IPO funding for your company, or if you're an investor on the lookout for new investment opportunities, JSE Private Placements is the perfect one-stop platform for you. Powered by next-generation global fintech leader Globacap, and driven by the JSE's deep understanding of the scaling up process, JSE Private Placements is revolutionizing the fundraising and investment world. Turn your blueprint into a reality with JSE Private Placements today. Register at jseprivateplacements.co.za. T's and C's apply.